If you've ever taken a cross-country road trip, you know that driving at night is a different world entirely. The road feels lonelier, the air feels heavier, and every sound your car makes seems louder than it should. I was somewhere deep in Nevada, heading west after leaving Salt Lake City. My GPS told me I had nearly 5 hours to go before I'd hit my destination, and the clock on my dashboard blinked back at me. 11:07 p.m. I should have stopped earlier, maybe grabbed a motel, but I told myself I'd push through. The highway stretched endlessly in front of me, 2 narrow lanes cutting through nothing but black desert. My headlights carved out just enough of the road to keep me moving, but beyond that beam of light was pure emptiness. And it wasn't just empty, it felt wrong. When you're driving at night, you expect to pass the occasional trucker, or maybe see distant headlights far ahead. But for almost an hour, I had seen nothing. No headlights, no taillights, not even the glow of a far-off town. Just me, my car, and the endless dark pressing in from every direction. I turned on the radio, flipping through static. Every channel was dead. AM, FM, just static hissing like a whisper in my ear. I finally gave up and shut it off. That's when the fatigue really set in. My eyes burned from staring at the road. My head felt heavy, like I could drift off if I let my focus slip for even a second. And in that kind of tired state, your brain starts to play tricks on you. I could swear I saw shapes moving just past the edge of my headlights, like figures ducking into the brush. Every time I looked, there was nothing there, just the jagged silhouettes of desert plants. I gripped the wheel tighter and told myself I was imagining things, but my chest felt tight, like something was watching me. So when I saw the glow of fluorescent lights in the distance, I almost sighed in relief. Civilization. A place to stretch, splash water on my face, and maybe shake the unease that had been building in me since the sun went down. The rest stop wasn't much, just a low brick building squatting beside the highway, with 2 flickering vending machines outside and a single street light buzzing overhead. The parking lot was nearly empty, just 3 cars scattered here and there. None had lights on. None had people inside. I pulled into a spot near the restroom building, killed the engine, and sat in silence for a moment. That's when I realized just how loud the desert silence can be. No crickets, no wind, not even the faint whoosh of passing cars. Just stillness. It felt unnatural. I forced myself out of the car, stretching stiff legs, and walked toward the restroom. The fluorescent light above the doorway buzzed faintly, casting a sickly glow across the cracked pavement. Inside, the air was stale and smelled faintly of bleach and old concrete. The place was empty. 2 stalls, 2 sinks, a mirror running along the wall. I walked to the sink, turned on the tap, and splashed cold water onto my face. My reflection looked exhausted, dark circles under the eyes, hair messy from hours on the road. That's when I heard it. A low, slow creak, like a hinge turning. I froze, water dripping from my hands, and turned toward the stalls. The door to the far stall was slowly swinging open, but when I came in, I could have sworn it was closed, and I could have sworn, absolutely sworn, that I was the only one here. I stood frozen, staring at that stall door as it eased open with the slow, uneven sound of rusty hinges. My breath caught in my throat. For a long, tense moment, nothing happened. The door stopped halfway open, swaying slightly, as if someone had just slipped inside or slipped out. I told myself it was nothing. Old buildings shift, hinges loosen, doors creak. It didn't mean anyone was there, but then I noticed something else. The floor, the tile floor under the stall was visible, pale gray with a spiderweb of cracks. I could see clear across to the wall behind it. No feet, no shoes, no shadow. The stall was empty. Still, the air in that restroom felt heavier, as though the room itself was holding its breath along with me. I turned back to the sink, trying to shake it off. Maybe the draft from the door had pushed it open. Maybe my tired brain was exaggerating everything. I splashed more water on my face, rubbed my eyes, and then I heard it, a whisper, so faint I thought it was my imagination at first. A single word carried on the still air. Hey! I spun around, heart hammering. The restroom was empty. The stall was still, door half open. Silence, then, softer this time, stretched out. Hey! The sound was unmistakable. It was coming from inside that stall. I forced a laugh, though my voice cracked. Very funny. Whoever's in there, you got me. No answer. I crouched slightly, peering at the gap beneath the door. Still no feet, no shadow. Nothing. The whisper came again. This time it was right behind me. Behind you. I jerked around so fast I nearly slipped on the tile. Nothing. Just the mirror reflecting my pale, wide-eyed face. My pulse pounded in my ears. My fight-or-flight instinct screamed to get out. But some stubborn part of me, the same part that had kept me on the road instead of pulling into a motel hours earlier, wanted to prove to myself that there was nothing there, that I wasn't losing my mind. So I took a deep breath and stepped toward the stall. The door creaked as I pushed it fully open. Empty. Just a toilet, a cracked seat, and graffiti carved into the metal walls. Relief washed over me. Silly. I was just exhausted hearing things. But as I turned back toward the sink, I froze again, because now the mirror was different. The reflection wasn't quite right. Behind me, in the glass, I could see both stalls, both open, both empty. But in the reflection, one wasn't empty. In the reflection, the far stall had a figure standing inside. Tall, thin, its head tilted slightly as if it was watching me. And when I spun around in panic, there was nothing there, just an empty restroom. My chest felt tight. I wanted to leave. I should have left already, but my body wouldn't move. I kept staring at that mirror, at the place where the figure had stood in the reflection. Slowly, I forced myself to glance back at the real stalls. Empty, just chipped paint and cracked tile. I turned again toward the mirror. The figure was closer now. It was standing just behind my shoulder in the reflection, its head bent down as if leaning to whisper in my ear. I stumbled back, slamming against the sink, but when I whipped my head around, nothing. Just me, the humming lights, and that suffocating silence pressing down harder than ever. The lights flickered once, twice. Then the whisper came again, louder, clearer, right in my ear. Stay. I bolted toward the door, but before I could reach it, every stall door in the restroom slammed shut at once. The sound was deafening, echoing off the concrete walls like gunshots. I froze in the middle of the room, my breath coming in ragged gasps. Then came the footsteps, slow, deliberate. From inside the stalls, I stared at the gap under the doors, praying, begging to see nothing. For a second, there was only empty tile. Then a pair of feet appeared, pale, grayish skin, toes too long, curling against the floor. They shifted with each heavy step, dragging forward, closer to the stall door. My body moved on instinct. I threw myself at the exit. The handle was icy cold under my palm, but it turned, I yanked the door open and burst out into the night. The desert air hit me like a slap, cold and dry. I sprinted across the cracked pavement toward my car. My keys rattled in my shaking hand as I jammed them into the lock. That's when I heard it. From inside the restroom, no, from all around me, came a chorus of whispers, not one voice now, but dozens. Male, female, young, old, overlapping, murmuring my name. They weren't calling from far away. They were right behind me. I wrenched the car door open, dove inside, and slammed the lock down. My hands fumbled with the ignition. For one sickening moment, the engine sputtered, but didn't start. And then I saw movement. In the rearview mirror, someone was sitting in my back seat. My throat closed up. I couldn't scream, couldn't breathe, but the figure didn't move, didn't lean forward. It just sat there, its face obscured in shadow. The whispers filled the car, brushing against my ears like cold breath. I turned the key again. The engine roared to life. Headlights flared, and in that split second of light, the back seat was empty. I slammed the car into gear and tore out of the parking lot, gravel spitting from the tires. My heart hammered so hard, I thought it might burst. In the rearview mirror, the rest. Stop shrank into the distance, swallowed by darkness. For a long time, I didn't dare slow down. But even as the miles rolled by, even as the glow of that cursed building vanished, I could still hear it, faint, almost drowned by the roar of the engine. That single, drawn-out word. Stay. I didn't stop driving that night. I kept my foot pressed to the gas, eyes fixed on the dark ribbon of highway ahead, afraid that if I slowed down even for a second, I'd see headlights behind me, or worse, something in the back seat again. By the time I reached the next town, dawn was breaking. The sky had gone from black to pale blue, the desert hills glowing in the rising sun. The light should have calmed me, but it didn't. I still felt that pressure on my chest, the lingering cold on my skin, the memory of those whispers brushing against my ears. I pulled into a diner, my hands still shaking as I wrapped them around a steaming mug of coffee. A waitress asked if I was okay. I must have looked pale and disheveled, but all I could do was nod. For a while, I convinced myself it was exhaustion, hallucinations brought on by lack of sleep. That had to be it. Until I checked my phone. I scrolled back through my call log, through the photos I sometimes snapped on the road to keep myself awake. And there, at 11:32 p.m., right around the time I'd been in that restroom, was a new picture. I hadn't taken it. The photo showed me, standing at the sink, my back turned, my reflection in the cracked mirror, and behind me, leaning out from the stall, was a figure, tall, thin, its face a blur of shadow. My stomach lurched. I deleted the photo immediately, but it didn't matter. I could still see it burned into my mind every time I closed my eyes. I didn't tell anyone at first. Who would believe me? But a week later, I finally broke and told my cousin about what happened. He grew pale, then asked me to repeat every detail. When I finished, he said quietly, "You shouldn't have stopped there. Not at that one." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "It was just a rest stop." He shook his head. "No, not just a rest stop. That one's different. People around here know about it. Travelers vanish there sometimes. Truckers refuse to stop. A few years back, police investigated after a woman disappeared. They said she'd been last seen entering the restroom. They never found her." His words made my skin crawl. "So, they closed it down." My cousin hesitated, then gave me a look I'll never forget. "They tried. But every time they shut it down, every time they boarded it up, it shows back up again. Same spot, same building. Sometimes months later, sometimes years, but always on Highway 89. I laughed nervously, but it died in my throat when he added, and the people who see it, the ones who go inside and come back out, they don't stay the same. It's been months now since that night. I don't drive long distances anymore. I don't take road trips. And I definitely don't stop at lonely rest stops, no matter how desperate I am. But I can tell you this much. Sometimes, late at night, when I'm parked in my driveway, I swear I hear it again. That faint creak of a stall door. That chorus of whispers pressing close against my ears. And once, just once, I found something sitting on my passenger seat when I got into the car. A key. A tarnished brass key with no markings. And hanging from the tag, scratched into the metal, was a single word. Stay.